Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to help change the world one person or one starfish at a time. As always, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share. That's how we get the word out about what we do. I'm excited for our guest today. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. I just met Carla. She's down in Texas. She's a psychotherapist, get this one right. It has been since 2019. And so this is going to be some deep dives into her life and who knows where it'll go. So I just know you want to share it. You want to listen. So welcome to the show, Carla.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It is great meeting you.
Awesome. Well, let's get into things. Let's just dig right into the fun stuff. I feel like I know why you became a psychotherapist from some of your stories, but let's dig into some of the stories and then how that did start to shape you into who you are today. And maybe some words of advice that can help people that have gone through similar circumstances and or are going through similar circumstances. So it started young, 4 years old. Your dad left, took you for pizza and left and didn't come back.
Right.
He was going to get you a Barbie truck. So let's tell that story. And as a 4-year-old, how are you feeling? And how do you think you emotionalized that?
Right. So my dad left us when I was about a year and a half. So then he wasn't really present. He would come and take me out to eat or take me to the zoo, take me to things. So I am 4 years old. I am excited about the Barbie Jeep, the one that kids could get in and drive around. I just think that's the best thing in the world. My dad comes, takes me to get pizza. I'm enjoying the pizza. And I'm telling him all about the Barbie Jeep. And he tells me, oh, that's great. Next time I see you, I'll get it for you. So I'm very excited. He drops me off at the school where my mom was working. And I don't see him for 30 years. And of course, that broke my heart. And taught me that men cannot be trusted, that people are not to be relied on. And all along with this and other things that have happened to me, I wanted to heal myself. So that's why I became a therapist, wanting to understand psychology, why people do the things that they do. And then all of that has helped me get to where I am today and having the mission of healing myself and helping other people heal.
Makes so much sense. So you're already kind of, your mom, I guess, sounds like was a little bit of a single mom already. Just at that point, it was like there was nobody else.
Right.
If you think back to how that was, are you the only child?
No, I have a younger brother.
Oh,
so she had another child. My mom had another child.
Okay. And how old was he been then?
He's 5 years younger than me. So when my dad left, he wasn't born.
Okay. So he wasn't around at that point. Okay. And then, at 5, you started to get molested. Quite the upbringing.
Right, I was about 6 years old. Yeah.
Okay. 5 or 6, by a cousin who was also a child, really.
Right. Right.
And how did you were going through that. You felt obviously uncomfortable probably right away, I'm guessing.
Right.
If you think back, if you're a kid to dig into it, how did you feel as a child? And did you tell someone right away, or is there a lot of shame or no? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it started happening when I was about 6 years old. My mom, being a single mom, wanted me to feel like I belonged to something bigger than myself. So she was very religious and took me to see her family any break she could. So spring break or summer. So we stayed at my uncle's house, and every night my cousin would come into the room, or if we stayed in the same room, he would start touching me once he thought I was asleep. And of course, he touched my private part, so that would wake me up.
Right.
And I remember not knowing what to do, just feeling so afraid. And sometimes I would tighten my body. Sometimes I would just pretend I was asleep. And that continued to happen every summer or every break until I was about 11 years old. And I remember being little, of course, and telling my mom, please don't take me to go see your family. Please don't take me. And I feel like that's when that detachment started, because I never called him my cousin or my uncle or my aunt, it was your family. So I said, please don't take me to go see your family. And I remember begging and crying, and my mom thinking, no, what are you talking about? We're going to go because it's your family. You need to see them. And of course, that affected me. And many times when there is sexual abuse coming from a child, it means that my cousin, was probably being molested as well or abused in some type of way. And then it also, many times, victims of sexual abuse continue to be victims because that core belief gets implanted. Like,
That's what they're worthy
this
of.
is going to continue to happen. Like, this is what people do to me. And of course, that continued to happen later on in high school. We can talk about that some other time, but
Yeah.
that instance or few years of my cousin molesting me, of course, caused a lot of fear with everything. Like, I don't want to go see my family. With, are people going to keep doing this? Is this going to happen to me in school? Just that fear that, am I safe? And of course, a lot of consequences come with that. Gaining weight, feeling, am I not pretty? That's why people do this to me. Or am I too pretty? And just creating that disconnect from my own body. And body dysmorphia in a way too.
What would make someone feel more comfortable to share it? Like, if you got kids right now and you're listening and something like this is happening, is there, is there a way to help your kids be able to feel like they can share something? As I hear this a lot, actually, and I think back to my childhood. I was just saying the other day about it. I had my period and we didn't talk about that stuff. And I actually just told my mom the other day at 43 what it was like. Like, I was puking every week. I was living on ibuprofen. She had no idea. And so, I mean, it wasn't like bad. I mean, it was bad, but it was, you know what I mean? But still, like, and I could tell mom's heart was broken. Like, why didn't I tell her? And I was like, why didn't I tell her? I mean, I was homeschooled. We were like, I loved her. But I didn't tell her. So I'm like, I can see why you wouldn't, say something about that either. But
Right.
what is there, you're into this space now. What are some things that could help a child feel, if you have like a 4 or 5, like a really young child, even 11, I was 11 to 18, I never said a word. And like I said, I wasn't being quote abused, but if I had been, I imagine it would have been the same because I would have felt ashamed. I think that was probably it, or scared, or I don't even know why I didn't, say that as an adult. I haven't analyzed that deep enough yet. But for you've done a lot of analyzing. I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the main thing is that parents take the time to do things for themselves, because whenever we take the time to process what we're going through, to release the stress in a healthy way, we're going to have a bigger capacity to hold space for others. If we're just going through the motions, exhausted, of course, when your kid tells you no, you're just going to be like, no, you're going to do it because I say so. And you're just going to fight, and you're just developing that wall by not investing in yourself and not releasing. So the first thing would be work on self-care, work on doing your own work, emotional work, so that you have the mental and emotional capacity to hold space for your kids. And then once your kid talks to you, just going into the conversation from a place of curiosity and not judgment. So in this case, to give you the example of what I went through, my mom telling me, no, of course I'm going to take you. You need to be with your family. Just holding space. Oh, tell me, why don't you want to go? Tell me more. Is there anything happening? Where would you like to go instead? And just going into the conversation from a place of curiosity. Because, many times the child or the person, even though they're an adult now, is holding shame, fear, anger, and they may not open up right away.
Right.
So another thing is also building that trust, that I want to be able to hold the space when my child is coming to me and telling me something random, like a video game they love or a toy they want. Because if I cannot even hear that, of course, he or she is not going to come to me when the difficult conversations need to happen.
I like that self-care. I'm thinking of where we were. Like, my dad left for a period. So my mom was like superwoman. So yeah, I could see that could be part of it, where it's just like, there was just so much, obviously not noticing the signs the same way. And then, I'm curious, do you still talk to your cousin? Is he out? Where is he at now as an adult?
No, I don't talk to a lot of my family and my mom's family.
Good.
So she had a big family, 11 siblings, and I just talked to one aunt
So
and
when
one
this all
uncle.
came, when did this come out to light?
When I went away to college, of course, my mom being a single mom, very Catholic, very had me on a short leash. I wanted to go far away as soon as I could. So
It
I'm
sounds
in
lovely.
Texas. College time comes. I'm like, I need to go far away. New York, North Carolina, California. Where should I go? I end up going to North Carolina for college. And then I was coming back to Texas during the summers. And one summer, my mom and I got into a fight. She was crying, like, why do you hate me? Like, why are you like this? Is it because your dad left? And just like a big
Right.
argument, a big fight. And then I told her, no, like these things were happening. And I was already starting to show interest in psychology. So I know a little bit about it. And I said, I think I just like felt like I hated you because you didn't protect me. But I don't blame you. I know you were doing the best that you could. You were a
Right.
single mom wanting to provide a roof over our heads, wanting to provide food. So you had to work 2 to 3 jobs. Um, that gets me emotional. So I told her then. So I must have been 19 or so.
And how did that go over?
Um, I would say it went well for me because I feel like that was part of my healing journey. And sometimes we forget the power of releasing something and letting it go and talking about it. So,
Hmm.
of course, it was good for me to say it. For my mom, I feel like that really hurt her. And that's when her depression aggravated because she made the decision of believing everything has been my fault and I am the one to blame. And
Hmm.
I didn't protect my children and I should have been home. So that's something that she still struggles with, just feeling that shame, embarrassment, guilt. And even now we have conversations. I'm 40 years old, so she's known for a while. And we have conversations, and her go to is always, oh, why do you blame me? So a couple of weeks ago, I said, Mom, I don't blame you. I forgive you. I know you were doing your best. But if you feel that I have something against you, it's because you probably have it against yourself. So this is something you get to process and talk about and heal from. So that's something that she's still carrying.
That's tough. Yeah, and I can see that. My mom, I think, felt somewhat responsible in my situation too. She's done a lot of self work, so I think she was able to work through it faster. Um, and of course, I've done a lot where she's like, "Well, that was your perspective of it." I think is how she worded it. I'm like, just let her go with that. Like for her
Right.
right now, that's needs to be what she believes. That is not as bad as I made it
Right.
out to be, which it might not have been quite as bad in that for sure, but it was bad. Like was
Mm.
um, but yeah, so that's really interesting. And then, so then you went into school, you said, and and now as a little bit older, I guess, child, you said in school, the molestation didn't continue with, so how did you stop it with your cousin, first of all? And then, what did you do going into school? And how did that, process? And then I know at 14, there was a major life shift.
Right. So I laugh because I believe everything happens for a reason. And the universe had my back. So I'm 11 years old. We are planning a family trip. So we go to my cousin's house, and not just that cousin, but other aunts, uncles. My mom had this big family. So let's say it's maybe 14 or 15 of her family. So we are wanting to go to the beach. So we're driving just in line, like 3, 4 cars, just going. And my mom is driving. I am in the passenger seat. In the back seat is 2 of my girl cousins and my brother sleeping. So this is in Mexico. Roads in Mexico are awful, really bad. So my mom was driving really fast. And then the road is very uneven. She's driving on the edge. And then something happens that the car just takes off, flips over,
Oh my,
and then lands. Yeah, so this happens. Of course, everybody stops, and this is very traumatic.
of course.
Nobody passed away, dad, or
Oh
anything. I
gosh.
feel like I'm the one who suffered the most because I couldn't walk after that happened. I couldn't move. They carry me, they put me on the back of the seat. Like they take the seat out of the car, lay it down as a bed and they lay me there. We wait for an ambulance. And then I go to the doctor. They're doing x-rays and checking, and everything looks okay, but I cannot walk. So this continues to happen. My mom, again, very Catholic. She does like prayers for me and praying circles and all these spiritual things and massages and physical therapy. And then I'm able to walk again. But I told her, Mom, I feel like this is, I don't know what words I used back then because I was a child.
Right.
But the message was
This is a
something
sign.
like, right? The message was something like, Mom, like, I really don't want to go see your family. Maybe this was the universe that I don't feel comfortable and that things like this are going to continue to happen if you keep forcing me to be here. So that's when going so frequently stopped. And I would still see him, but like, we wouldn't stay at their house anymore.
Did you
I
ever
saw them
confront him?
again. No. And it's so interesting that I haven't, and I don't think I'm interested in that because I forgive him. He was probably going through similar things. From a little bit that I hear from other family members, he's had a difficult life. So I believe in karma and that we get what we do back given to us. So I don't have any interest in talking to him or doing anything like that. But yeah, going back to the story, that is when my mom stopped being so forceful about seeing him. And if I saw him, it was just like briefly, like hi, talking briefly, and then that was the end of it.
Huh. And then you went into school, and you said some of that even happened as you went into school, though, because your your identity had obviously been pretty slaughtered, for lack of a better word. So tell us a little bit about that and how you dealt with that. And then at 14, you can go into kind of what happened.
Right. So I feel like my identity started shifting, of course, when I'm 4 and my dad leaves us. And then all throughout my childhood, I was bullied for not having a dad. That's what people will call me. Oh, you're the girl who doesn't have a dad. Where are your parents? Because my mom never attended
Work.
school functions because, of course, she was working. So bullied because of that. Bullied because I feel like kids can be very cruel and just find anything to bully somebody else for when they feel, I don't know, threatened or like they don't belong or they want to appear like they're bigger than somebody else. So bullying for anything, for being overweight, not having a dad, not having parents coming to the school. I remember this birthmark. I would get made fun of for having a birthmark on the front in the middle of my forehead. So anything. So I feel like that started affecting me. And just having that disconnect between me and my body. Like, am I too pretty? That's why people touch me and look at me in this manner. Or am I not pretty enough? That's why they think they can get away with touching me or bullying me. So also hearing that, oh, you're too fat because I was in Mexico from when I was 4 years old until I was 16 years old. So for Mexican standards, I am tall and light skinned. So I look very different to the majority of the kids that were in the school.
Right.
So I will always be the last in the line because they used to put us in a height order. So I was always at the back of the line, being made fun of, feeling like I'm too big, I'm a giant compared to these little kids. So feeling like I'm too fat, too overweight, my body feels like uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable in my own skin.
Right.
So I feel like that's when a little bit of body dysmorphia began and just feeling like a giant, like just feeling like I don't fit like in this seat. Like I feel like I'm spilling over seats. I'm spilling over anywhere where I am and just feeling like uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. Yeah, so that's how that affected me. And then it also created isolation. So thinking that I am in this life alone, and I've been an introvert my whole life. Like I can talk to people now, but I need time to recharge and just fill up my energy battery. But back then I was not only an introvert, but also shy. So just quiet, reserved, not really interacting much. So because of that, I didn't make many friends. And I feel like that affected me in that feeling like, do I belong here?
Mhm.
Or am I liked?
Right. And then at 14, you tried to commit suicide
Right.
and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
thank God. And then coming out of that, really interesting. So I think this is the key. You made a decision that you were going to be successful and that,
Right.
you took your life back in one decision. And
Right.
to me, that's what I want people to really pay attention to, because I think that's the key to most things is Think or Rich talks about that too, the power of a decision all the time.
Right.
And it's like, we can go through all these things in our life, which is, tragic and terrible and all the things, but we can make a decision at any time, at any age, we're going to change our life. And it sounds so simple, and it is. Like, it's just is a decision. And so you made a decision, which I think is powerful. I remember making one at 7. So, that decision is what started to shape you. You went to school, you started to, figure things out. And then you went into, becoming a therapist and helping others, which is awesome. Same time, just before you became that, open your own business, I guess you got married. So what got you through? Because I totally understand that whole guys suck concept. Your dad left. There was all these boys, someone close to you was molesting you at a very young age. So there was this negative male role models in your life, obviously. What got you through that in order to, I guess, get to the point where you actually trusted someone enough to marry them? You've been married 8 years, so congrats.
Thank you. Yes. So at 14, I made the decision I'm going to survive. And that's when I leaned into self-improvement books. So I remember the first self-improvement book I read was 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. So I remember just holding on to that book and reading it and taking it everywhere I went. So from there on, I leaned into that and I was learning about how to become a better person, how to be successful, how to process things, of course, with the capacity a teenager can have. And then my mom also put me in therapy when I was a child and then later on when I was a teenager. So of course that helped. So I feel like a lot of it has to be internal. You wanting to get better, you wanting to ask for help. And sometimes we don't have the capacity, or because we are holding on to difficult situations that relate to people, we are afraid of asking for help. But then there are other things we can lean on: a podcast, a book, anything that just includes yourself, journaling. But yeah, I read a lot, was in therapy throughout my life, again when I was an adult in college. So I was always doing work, wanting to self-improve, wanting to feel a sense of belonging, feel like I am not broken, I can be okay. And I said, I want to have my own family. I want to get married. I know good men are out there. So starting with that belief that even though I have a difficult past, my future doesn't have to be difficult. Even though I have experienced pain and people have hurt me, I know there's good people out there, because if I'm a good person, I know there's other people like me around.
Right.
So just believing that, and of course, dating guys and being very honest with myself about what I want in a relationship, what I don't want, and just being very aware that I don't want to repeat similar patterns that my mom or my ancestors have repeated. So I have to be very intentional with dating with a person I'm choosing. So with my husband now, when we met, I remember not wanting to get physical right away. And we laugh about this because I remember we went out maybe 2-3 times and we were crossing the street and he wants to hold my hand. And I'm like, I don't hold hands because that can lead to something else. And then we just started laughing. But to me, I was like,
You told him that you were open and honest.
firm in
That's cool.
that boundary that I don't want to hold hands. It feels a little too soon. It's our second, third date. And I feel like just being honest with yourself, like if you want a relationship based on emotional connection, on values, then waiting for something physical is what felt right for me. So that's what I did.
Can I ask a personal question on this? Because I'm curious.
Sure.
How long? I love this. Yeah. Well, how long did you wait?
To have sex with him?
Yeah.
We met in July. So everything happened really fast. We met in July. He's in Houston. I'm in Austin. He goes to visit me for a week. Of course, he cannot stay with me. So you have to get a hotel. He gets a hotel. But we're seeing each other. We're having 3-hour conversations on the phone.
Well,
In August, he invites me to meet his family for his niece's baptism. And then by the end of August, that's when we ended up being intimate.
and when were you married? How far away was that then? You moved fast.
So we were not married yet. So we met in July,
Oh,
met his family in August, met his dad's side of the family in August, his mom's side of the family in November. And then in January, we started talking a little bit about being together for a while. In March, he's like, okay, I want you to move in with me. And I'm like, that means moving cities. At this point in time, I was a school counselor. So I told him that means switching jobs, looking for another job. So to me, I feel like I need a commitment
yeah.
before moving my whole life to a different city. So he said, okay, I want us to get married. So in March, we go to buy the ring together because I wanted something very simple, just like
Very pretty.
a stone, simple. So we go buy the ring in March. He keeps the box and he says, okay, I'll propose as a surprise. So in May, we go to the beach and he proposes. I love going to the beach for sunrises and sunsets. So we go for a walk in the beach for sunrise and then he proposes there. So that's May. I move into his house in June. Once the school year finishes in Austin, I move here in June and we get married in December.
It's about a year. A year
So
and a
pretty
week.
fast,
Yeah,
yeah.
year and a little bit. That's cool. Move fast. Yeah. When you know,
Yeah.
you know. It's interesting.
Right.
That's cool. And then, but haven't decided on kids quite yet.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. It's cool. I think you'd be an amazing mother.
Thank you.
Raise some very strong children, just like your mom did. And, you know, considering that, I'm super impressed with your mom. And maybe tell her this as a regret, that she did therapy for you because
Yeah.
from the sound, like when you come from, depending on your upbringing, like we weren't raised like therapy. I would say till recently that I'm actually like, you know, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because we were raised where like, if you go to therapy, you're broken.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be broken. Like, I'm not broken. I don't need to go to therapy. But I've like, yeah, like therapy, I think is very helpful for almost everybody, really. You know,
Right.
I'm still, like I said, it's funny at my age. So I just think that's really neat that your mom, for all the things that happened, she got you in that at a very young age. And through that, you got into personal development. That's really, really cool. All of that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you're, you know, working, who's your ideal client? Are you helping everyone? Is there a certain group of people? Tell us a little bit about your actual business now.
Okay. So I own Calderas Counseling and Group Practice in Spring, Texas. And as a practice, we specialize in working with teens, couples, people with anxiety or depression. And along my healing journey, I later chose to mainly work with women. So
Yep.
my background is in therapy, but my personal background has been working on healing myself through different modalities.
Right.
So lately I have leaned more into maybe spirituality or believing in something bigger than myself. For some clients, that is nature. For some clients, is religion or magic or crystals or other things. So what I'm doing now is transitioning into healing coaching, where I blend psychotherapy, which to me is looking at our past, identifying patterns, identifying why we do what we do. A little bit of the present. Let's set the routines, set the boundaries, have the assertive, uncomfortable conversations. But then coaching is let's build a future that you want and deserve. The future that right now maybe you don't think is possible because of the pain that you've been through, but it's possible. And let's work together and let me show you how. So right now I'm transitioning to healing coaching, but I still own the group practice.
Is there, and maybe there's not, if there's not, that's fine. Is there like, if someone's listening to this and maybe they can't afford a therapist or they have never gone or whatever, is there a couple questions that someone could ask themselves that like most people should be asking themselves just to like start to think deeper and maybe work through some things like personal therapy, I guess, like self-therapy. Is there anything that
Sure.
you would suggest for someone if they're listening to this that like this is a good thought or a good question or a good thing you can do like right now, today, that might start to help you heal?
Okay. I would say one question is, what do I need right now? And I'm going to elaborate on that. So, what do I need right now? And being honest with yourself. Do you need right now to make more friends? So let me do that. Do I need right now to let go of friends? So do that. Because many times with healing, we think about what else do I need to add into my life? Oh, I need a bigger support group. I need to go to therapy. I need to go to coaching. But it's not just that. It's also, what do I need right now? Maybe right now you don't have the finances to go to therapy or the energy to make more friends. So then think about, what do I need to let go of? Because maybe right now what you need is not adding more things into your life, but maybe letting go of certain things. So maybe that is being honest that maybe I tend to emotionally eat. Anytime I'm sad, I tend to overeat. So let me choose to drop that behavior. And it's always easier to replace the behavior. Instead of reaching for the pastries when I'm sad, can I reach for something to massage myself? Or can I reach for lotion and just massage my feet? So not just thinking, what else do I need to add to my life to heal, but what can I remove from my life? So being honest, like, what do I need right now?
I love that. That's really cool. Well, I know we could go forever, but we try to keep these short and sweet, respect people's time. So, in wrapping up, I always have three final questions and then anything we didn't touch on. And guys, if you want to reach out to Carla or, find out more about her practices or anything like that, we'll have all that information in the show notes. Definitely reach out. This is good stuff and share this. First and final question is, if someone's looking for their purpose, what's one sentence you could say that could help them find it?
I would say, when you're trying to find your purpose, lean into love. Many times we have glasses that we look at life through, from I need to make more money, or I need to get married, I need to do more, be more. But if you lean into love, that purpose is going to come in a clearer way. So lean into love, starting with loving yourself, being honest with yourself, loving yourself. How can I invest in myself, nurture myself? And then your purpose can become clear, because maybe your purpose is to be a mom. Maybe it is to open your own business. Maybe it is, I want to leave this job and have a peaceful life. But when you lean into love, that purpose can become clear.
Cool. Second question. What's a favorite quote and why?
Oh, I love quotes. I had too many, but let me think of one.
That's why I always say A. I used to say your favorite. People are like, I don't know which one. I'm like, just pick one.
Right. I would say it will be, okay, I have too many, but the one that's in my head right now is from Rumi. First, I wanted to heal the world, but now I'm healing myself. I know I'm probably butchering it, but it's something like, sometimes we become so nitpicky about what other people need to fix. But what we have to do is look within and like, not what do I need to fix, but how can I be the change I want to see? And I feel like that's another quote, be the change you wish to see.
That's good. Yeah, those are good. And they mix together, so that's perfect.
Right.
Third question is, what's one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
I want to say it has to do with healing. Maybe just healing, or
Helping
Carla
heal.
healed, yeah, and can help, yeah, and is leaving a legacy to help you heal.
I love that. You'd be a very good mom, Carla.
Thank you so much.
Say that. All right, we're heading to someone in the coffee shop and they've listened to this. They're working on some of this stuff. What's something though we didn't touch on that you think would be really impactful to leave our listeners with?
I think it's a mix of like vulnerability with people. I feel like many times on social media, they see the good parts. Or my clients, they see, oh, Carla runs her own business and is helping people heal and wrote a book and is doing all these things, but they don't see everything that's underneath that. So I think that can be a reminder that even though you're in the funk right now, or in the mud that I like to call it, like just feels sticky and feels uncomfortable, there's a way out of there. And just trust that that is your path, and it's going to matter, and it matters. And you'll understand later on why you had to go through that.
That's cool. I love that. Guys, I don't have to tell you to share, I'm sure. Go ahead and share. Rate, review, subscribe, share. If we can go out there, if we can help one person or one starfish at a time together, we can help change the world. Thanks for being on, Carla.
Thank you so much.